You're out! Welcome to another episode of In a Pickle, the show dedicated to the less glamorous side of baseball. I am your host, Dave Houghton, and with me today, filling in for Greg McMorrow, who's on assignment, one of the co-hosts of S1E1, one of the new hit podcast shows out there. If you haven't listened to it, go for it. You'll be pleasantly surprised. We have today my buddy, also a co-host of Drunken Opinion, the other podcast show that I do sometimes with him. We have Nick Pissarro. Nick, thank you so much for coming on to the show today.
Hey, glad to be here.
You know, in my head, the intro I had was a lot smoother. So
it always is, isn't it?
It always is. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about how I'm going to introduce the show, and I'm like, oh, man, this all sounds great. Yeah, sure.
In my head, it works, and then
in my head, everything works, and then
out the mouth, no good.
Yeah,
it was fine though. I'll give you. I didn't notice any problems with it.
Oh, a few stumbles here and there. I almost I was going to tell people why Greg's on assignment, but I want it to be a mystery. You know, we're just going to keep it out there.
I don't even know why. So
no, see, it's a mystery.
Yeah,
he could be at the Hall of Fame. He could be at the Field of Dreams. It's all a mystery.
Maybe he got lost in the Field of Dreams.
He got lost in the corn maze.
Have we checked up on him?
That's it. Hey, it could have happened.
He walked into the wrong cornfield. Now he's just in a cornfield.
I think this is the way to the field. I'll just walk this way. And then.
What year is it? It's 2021, dude. Get out of my cornfield.
Things are crazy. I don't get it. So you are one of 5 co-hosts from the S1E1 podcast.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and just explain, because you can definitely explain it better than I can, because I will just tell you what the show's about. But
yeah, no,
why
it's just.
Why don't you just explain? Because you're one of the. And now there's 5 hosts.
5 of us, yes.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like a lot, right?
That sounds like a lot.
I think we do a pretty good job of keeping it together.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
There's it's called S1E1. You can find it everywhere. For your convenience, you can go to s1e1pod.com, and that'll give you a link to everywhere you can find it and our social media profiles. It's just we review the first televised pilot episode of various sitcoms. We discuss them, and at the end of each episode, we greenlight or cancel it. Each member of the podcast will go through and decide if we would, on this pilot alone, continue to watch this show. We've got about, I think, 25-ish episodes right now, depending on when you hear this.
It's up there. I'm about 3. I think I might be 4 episodes behind right now.
Yeah, the one that just came out, aptly timed for football season, is The League. So go check it out. It was a fun episode.
I love that show too.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I got my kids saying Raffy Bomb every time Rafael Devers hits a home run. So,
Raffy Bomb.
Yeah. If you only knew what that actually was.
That's where we got our water cookies from.
Nice.
It took us about a month to realize where Joe came up with water cookies, but it was when Ruxin's son eats the ice cubes out of the urinal. It's forever unclean.
Forever unclean. That show was great. I would definitely greenlight that show. Hands down.
You'd have to watch. You can't just greenlight the show. You got to greenlight the pilot. So it depends on how the pilot went for you.
That's actually a good point. See, I believe one of the last episodes we had on IAP, I was explaining to Greg your podcast show, and I said, when a really good idea comes across the table, and you're like, Jesus Christ, why couldn't I think of that? And then I listened to this show, and it's just like some of the stuff is like I wholeheartedly agree with. And other stuff, when you guys are talking about, like, no way, this show's awful. Like you had an episode of when you're talking about Home Improvement. I absolutely hated that show.
Really?
I hated it.
Why did you hate? Did you hate Tim Allen?
I hated Tim Allen. Then you had another one about. Oh, you know what? I hated Tim Allen. I hated his kids, and I hated that time. Like all the times he just barked. He's I hated it. I absolutely hated it. And then I hated Everybody Loves Raymond too.
Yeah, I wasn't around for that episode actually.
No, you were you were on assignment as well, weren't you?
Yes, yeah. I was in Texas.
I hated Everyone Loves Raymond because Raymond's mother reminds me a lot of my mother. You know.
Wow.
And I do love my mom. I'm not going to say that I don't love my mom, but
it just hit too close to home.
Yeah, it was too close. I can hear her when she goes, "Oh, Raymond." I can hear my mother goes, "David, what are you doing?" I just couldn't.
Hey, at least she doesn't live next door.
That's true. She does live down the street, and even
that could have been a lot worse. Yeah,
it could have been a lot worse. So, but it's a great show, and I really enjoy it. Like I said, I'm about 3 or 4 episodes behind. I'm trying to catch up, but there's just so many shows out there.
I know there's a lot to choose from. It's tough to stick to one thing.
It's really hard. It's you get like ADD with podcasts, you know?
Right? Yeah, and you only have so much free time to just not be listening to anybody else. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just sit there with your headphones in all day. Unfortunately,
I wish I could sometimes.
I know.
Block out the outside world because it's not fun out there. So you do now. You do travel a lot for work on your other job. I don't want to say a real job because I have, well, as of you, I mean, you have 2 podcast shows. I have 2 podcast shows. Plus, you run a bunch of different things. Are you still doing Gabagool Boston?
Gabagool Boston on Instagram. Yeah, we review Italian subs.
You do a lot of review stuff.
Yeah. And we got Screen Punch Gaming going. Luckily,
Screen Punch Gaming. I forgot about Screen. We actually run an ad for Screen Punch Gaming.
That's right. Yeah.
Show.
Yeah, that's still luckily my counterpart Doug in Screen Punch Gaming has been keeping it afloat while I've been busy. So any success we've had in that can be solely attributed to him.
Hey, so far you sound like the hardest working man in podcast.
Yeah, right.
You know?
The hardest part, as you can imagine, I'm sure, is the post production. You know, I mean, for Drunken Opinion, you dealt with all of that, but now with S1E1, we're splitting the loads with just video editing, audio editing. There's a lot of images we edit for each episode and stuff like that. So luckily we have enough people to do it, but it's time consuming. So
it is. It's absolutely. It's hard to just. I want to do both shows all the time, but like, obviously, like I've missed a few episodes of In a Pickle because Greg's away, and then the whole thing with Drunken Opinion we haven't been on since I think June or July. Because I mean, just schedules are they just conflict, and
it's impossible.
It's impossible. It's impossible to get everybody going.
Which I'm surprised that me and 4 other people can get together religiously.
Right.
So I mean, but
yeah, I mean, on this show, there's only 2 of us, and we could barely get together.
Right.
On S1E1, there's 5 of you, and you were the only one that missed 2-3 episodes, maybe
2 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, because you were where'd you go? Texas.
Yep.
Yeah,
San Antonio.
Shooting a pilot for some Texas show or something.
Walker Texas Rangers coming back.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I'm Walker.
Yeah. Would you greenlight that show?
Oof, God. I'd have to see the first one. I'd say probably not, honestly.
Is that Chuck Norris? That was Chuck Norris.
Yeah, it's Chuck Norris. It's also not a sitcom, so it wouldn't fly with us.
No, that wasn't a sitcom?
No, it's more of a drama or I don't know what you would call it actually, but it's not a sitcom. It's not a situational comedy.
So you wouldn't do like CSI or stuff like that.
Right, exactly. Yep.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
I mean, I'm at a certain point down the line, we will run out of sitcoms, right?
I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, because they're still going to be coming out. But I mean, as it stands right now, we have at least 3 years worth of shows we can do that are, notable.
I mean, you guys don't do what's your most current show?
The most recent. Oh, like the most current show that's like on TV still?
Well, yeah. Well, I know you did that Big Show.
The Big Show, yeah, but that already got canceled.
Yeah, but that was a very recent show.
Right. I think probably the most topical one we've done recently would be Schitt's Creek, which is now technically off the air, but it very recently went off the air.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago it ended, or last year.
I think it was last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Show was like still, I think technically hadn't been canceled yet when we did it, or maybe
Right.
it was, but had just been canceled.
Right.
But yeah, we've been going through all the older shows. Like our first show was Friends and stuff like that.
Right.
So we're in that realm of the 90s and 2000s. We haven't really breached into the more modern shows just yet.
Right. And you went as far back as the Faulty Towers was your way
that
back
was
in time
the
show.
late 70s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like the fact
Which
that
is still,
it's-
for some reason, one of our most downloaded shows.
Is it really?
Yeah, Gordo was like, no, I'm telling, because he picked that show and he was like, listen, this one's gonna do well. And we're like, and nobody had heard of the show, right? So
Right.
we were like, yeah, okay, whatever. But still consistently every week, 10,
That's
15,
crazy.
10, 15. Yeah, it's wild.
Hey, people like to
It's weird, yeah.
people like stuff. I mean, those old episodes, the older sitcoms, like I'm excited to, if you ever do like a Three's Company or Brady Bunch or the
Yep.
Jeffersons,
Those are all coming. Yep.
yeah. Even like the I Love Lucy's.
We're trying to schedule. We're talking about like milestone shows, and we're going to put Shears in one of them. So you might have to take a day off of work for
Shears.
that one.
I will. I'll take an entire week off. I'll come on that show. I'll be the 6th member, but you guys already know that I'm going to greenlight it, whether it's all or not. So
We'll see what happens. You never know.
I've
When's the last time
that
you watched the pilot?
Probably about a year ago.
Yeah.
During
I mean,
COVID,
it's a good pilot. I know that.
Yeah.
So, well,
Yeah.
we'll see.
during COVID,
Gordo cancels a lot of things that surprise us. So you never know what
Surprising.
could happen. Yeah.
It is surprising. During COVID, I watched the entire 12 years of Cheers.
I can't watch the last episode of that show.
It's so sad.
I can't in my head let it end.
No,
You know what I mean?
I know. But sometimes it's closing time. What do you
Sorry,
do?
we're closed.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I have a story about traveling today, which if you've ever listened to this show, nothing really goes right and according to plan. So today's episode is about the 1992 Los Angeles Angels bus crash. I'm going to be honest with you. I tried to do this show by myself, and it is no way easy to do a show.
No.
My wife even made fun of me. She's like, how do you do a show about of that caliber of like misery and people dying? And not that it's, we'll get to the show with people dying and everything, but
And
like,
you're just like, I love it. I love this
yeah.
stuff.
And you just, you need someone to bounce off of you, be like, oh, this happened and this happened and this happened. But like, I did this episode, and on 365 Sportscast, they like us to do at least 58 minutes. And that's why we're really just stretching it for time here. We'll talk
Right,
about, we can do a whole episode of S1E1 right now. And
Let's
whatever.
do cheers right now.
yeah, let's do cheers. Green light. Let's talk about everything.
See you later.
So I did this episode by myself, and I tried so hard to stretch out the time, and I added 3 commercials on this, and I still got maybe 28 minutes with 3 commercials.
I know, and I'm sure it felt like 2 hours.
And I'm like, yeah. And like, I even screwed up a few times, and I had to go edit it. And then when I went to
Yep.
go edit it, I was like, yeah, I can't do this show. I can't put this out. I
Yeah.
can't put this out. So,
A for effort, though. At least you tried.
I'm trying. I'm just trying to get everything out there. So,
Yep.
so I do appreciate you coming on. I know your workload is very,
Sure. Yeah. No
very
problem.
hectic. I'm going to try to get one of the other guys from S1E1 to come on and do another episode.
I'm sure you could get all of them too at one
Sure.
point. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get the whole panel on. I got a couple of shows coming up. So if you look at the stats for the 1992 Angels, you would think that the season is going to be a wash at this point, placing 5th in the AL West with a 72-90 record. But what you might not know is this team was involved in one of the worst bus crashes in MLB history. In the early hours on May 22nd, 1992, the LA Angels were involved in a bus crash when one of their team buses left the road in Woodbury, New Jersey. 13 people were hurt in this wreck. The LA Angels had just finished a series with the New York Yankees and were traveling to Baltimore to begin a series against the Orioles. In what seemed like a time-saving maneuver, the team opted to use buses for the shorter East Coast jaunt, reasoning that having to run 40 personnel through 2 airports in such a short period was a bit of a hassle. Back then, team flights were kind of unheard of, and the team would fly with basically the general public. I mean, there would
Right.
be sort of a private flight, but you'd still have a few
Mhm.
general schlubs on there. The first team bus crashed in the early morning hours. So we're talking about 2 busloads of guys for this team. They always separate the team because it's just everybody needs their own space.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're traveling from New York to Baltimore, which I believe I think it's about 6 or 7 hours from here. So
Baltimore?
Yeah,
I think it's probably about 4.
4 to Baltimore because it's 4 to New York.
So wait, New York City to Baltimore?
Yeah. So
I mean, we can look this up really quick.
that's true. We do have the power.
That's 3 hours and 11-minute drive. So yeah,
3 hours and 11 minutes. So it is. I mean, I get where they're talking about their time-saving maneuver. It's probably a lot.
It does make
quicker.
sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's why I will never, for work, fly to New York City.
Right.
Never. It's an hour flight, right? It's going to take you an hour to get to the airport. You're going to wait for that flight for another half hour. You're going to fly. Then you're going to get back. You're going to wait for your luggage. You're going to wait for your transportation.
Right.
You've spent 3.5 hours when you could have driven there in 4.
Right.
And it just, so I get what the idea behind this was. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're talking about late night bus ride, and guys are tired. They're probably just hanging, eating some food, just doing their thing.
Chilling, drinking, sleeping, playing cards. The bus, carrying mostly coaches and other team personnel, drifted across the road, striking a guardrail. The bus then straddled the guardrail for 25 feet before eventually flipping over on its side. So in my head, it did like a 50-50 like board slide on this thing.
That's kind of
that's crazy.
A little Tony Hawk thing going on there.
Yeah. Angel manager Buck Rogers suffered a broken right elbow, right rib, left knee. Rogers, 53 at the time, was trapped in the twisted, crumpled metal of the bus for 7 to 9 minutes before paramedics pulled him out through the windshield and transported him to Underwood Memorial Hospital in Woodbury, New Jersey. He was transferred to Thomas Jefferson University Hospital in Philadelphia, where he was listed as in fair condition late that Thursday. Rogers was scheduled to return to Los Angeles on the following Saturday by air ambulance, and he would undergo surgery to repair his elbow Monday at Centinela Hospital Medical Center. Never heard of that one.
Do you think the air ambulance has the lights and sirens on in the air so the other planes get out of the way?
Beep, boo, beep, boo. They just got to pull over to the side of the air.
There's one airplane just not listening. The music's too loud.
Yeah. I wonder what an air ambulance is. Like, is it just a regular flight that they put a doctor and this guy on? Is it
sure
just them on a private jet? I imagine is probably what it is.
I'm going to go with my theory, and the lights and sirens are on.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. He was the most seriously injured, he being Rogers. He was the most seriously injured of the 12 players or staff members, plus the driver who were treated. Team orthopedist Louis Yoakum was to go to Baltimore to examine injured players. This guy just had the biggest workload of his life dumped on him.
Right.
The team orthopedist who now is dealing with 1,000 broken bones.
Right.
He probably quit 3 days later.
You just had half a team plus personnel get injured on a bus.
Right.
So it's like, hey, Yoakum, you're going to have to deal with all this.
Strap in, bud. It's going to be a wild ride.
He's like, all right, you know what? I'm going to put in my 2 weeks.
He's getting paid the same no matter who's hurt, right? So
that's true.
He's officially working overtime.
He's not getting any extra money because
of the bus crash.
Old Buck Rogers is hurt. Right? So it was a nightmare to go through, but it could have been a tragedy, said shortstop Gary DiSarcina. DiSarcina
or DiSarcina? I don't know.
DiSarcina? DiSarcina.
DiSarcina. We'll go with that. DiSarcina.
Sure. DiSarcina. Who was bruised and had a sore back after being jolted out of his seat and wedged under a seat across the aisle. We went over some bumps like we were going over the reflectors on the road, and I remember hearing the branches hit the side of the bus. I kept waiting not to hear those branches. That's like crazy. I mean,
yeah.
Picture you on a bus, right? You're half asleep. You just worked. You played baseball. You're tired, and you get on this bus and you fall asleep. Next thing you know, you're tumbling down a mountainside.
I actually have a quick similar story to this. When I was 20, like freshly 20 years old, me and
Yeah.
a bunch of people went to Montreal, and you take the bus from, like the Copley area in
Yep.
Boston. It was a nightmare. The bus didn't have air conditioning, so that we had to wait 6 hours for them to get us another bus.
Ugh.
But we're on our way. I can't remember if it was on their way up or back. The bus started drifting. It hit the rumble strips.
Really?
And we were like, it was like a pretty steep drop off too. And people just started yelling. They were like, hey, hey. And the bus driver like pulled it back into the lane. And some dude was like, what the fuck was that? And he was like, sorry, I was scratching myself, was what he said.
What?
He was like, I was scratching myself. Sorry about that. I was like, Jesus Christ. We almost died because his bus driver was scratching his balls.
Wow.
And yeah, so luckily we didn't end up like this team, but
Wow.
could have.
That's hold on, I just gotta put my beer down. Jeez. It was like being in a big washing machine or a heavy-duty dryer, just thrashing around. When it got real dark and all I heard was moaning and groaning, there was luggage and food all over the place. It seemed like it took hours to realize where we were. And like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, some of those guys probably just woke up and they're like, what is going on here?
Yeah, right.
When they went back to the hospital to collect their luggage and they saw what was left of the bus, and it was scary. Rogers, who was in the front seat of the bus, said, it was dark when it happened, and it was scary to see in the light of day how the front of the bus was pushed back right to where I was sitting. There was no front door. It was amazing that anyone got out alive.
Besides Rogers, who suffered the most of the injuries with a broken knee, cracked rib, and an elbow that was broken in 6 different places. Jesus, I didn't even know your elbow had 6 spots to break in.
Oh, I'll tell you a funny story about an elbow break, and I know you know this story. I think it's about
Diane.
9 years ago.
I forgot about that. Holy shit.
I was at a wedding. Me and my wife were at a wedding, and my wife was 8 months pregnant at the time. And she went to go, some girl was standing next to her. We were at the after party for the wedding, and some girl was standing next to her, and she, I don't know, drank her wine too fast, and she started to fall down. So my wife, being 8 months pregnant, wanted to protect the baby. So she put her hand up, and when the girl fell, she was dead weighted, and she fell on my wife's arm, and the elbow snapped over the armrest of the chair. And it broke in, I don't even know how many places, but to this day, my wife has she has 2 plates. There's a plate on each side of her elbow, and there's at least something about like 14 to 16 screws inside of her elbow.
She could drop a good bow on you, huh?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Whenever she gets mad at me, she definitely drops that elbow on me. But
my dad, like he's a carpenter for years.
Yeah.
And, hurt himself various different ways. But like the worst time he ever hurt himself was he broke his elbow falling off of a 3-foot ladder.
No way.
It was just like a little ladder, like the shortest one you could be on. And he broke it. And the surgeon was like, I think we can fix it. So we're just going to get in there. And then once we open you, we'll figure it out. When they opened him, it's like his arm fell out in pieces. So they just had to like basically reconstruct his elbow.
Jeez.
With I don't know, with titanium,
Super
whatever
glue.
it is. Yeah.
A lot of super glue.
Duct tape and Band-Aids.
Yeah.
The Angels Hall of Fame hitting coach Rod Carew suffered a case of whiplash, while Rick Turner, the team's bullpen catcher, required 29 stitches to close a wound under his armpit. Oh, imagine getting that bad of a cut under your armpit.
29 stitches.
It's so tender down there.
Oof. So lately I've been posting weird baseball facts on our Instagram page just because, I really enjoy all these weird facts and fun facts and all this weirdness that surrounds baseball. So here's a weird fun fact for today. And it kind of fits in what we talked about a few weeks ago. Me and Greg were talking about like how baseball players used to like smoke in the dugout and how you were allowed to like do like bags and bags of dip and all this stuff. And nobody really cared.
Yep.
So Rod Carew began using chewing tobacco in 1964 and was a regular user up until 1992. I wonder if this bus crash had anything to do with him stopping.
I would imagine it might have.
They found a cancerous growth in his mouth, and they removed it. The years of use had severely damaged his teeth and gums, and Carew had spent a reported $100,000 in dental work for his brand new teeth. So
that's crazy money, by the way.
It makes me question the fact that, like, does the MLB not have a dental plan?
Well, not for self-inflicted cancer, I guess, right? Like if you got hit in the face with a baseball, then yes.
Yeah.
But
well,
if you're dipping...
I guess if you got hit in the face with a baseball, that would be an on-the-job injury, right?
Right. Yeah. This guy, although was dipping on the job, probably shouldn't have been. And also, $100,000, 1992 is upwards of 300 right now. So that I don't understand what this guy got put in his face, because it must be gold.
Right.
I just don't understand. It must have been like actual reconstructive, like to his jaw and shit like that is the only thing I can think of that would cost that much money. Because I mean, now, like if you wanted to go get all brand new teeth right now, you're probably in the whole 20 grand. You know what I mean? Like, which is still a lot of money, but $1,000 is crazy. Infielder Alan Davis, traveling secretary Frank Sims, and head trainer Ned Burgert remained in Underwood Hospital for a few nights. 8 other players and staff members were released after being treated for cuts and bruises. Davis and Burgert were being tested for possible kidney damage, and Sims had cracked ribs and a possible punctured lung. Infielder Bobby Rose would suffer a sprained ankle and would eventually become the only one to land on the DL after this incident. That's crazy.
12 different guys get hurt, and he's the only one on the DL.
Can you imagine? And I think that speaks more for the time than it does the injuries.
Right.
Because I feel like today that entire team would have been on the DL.
Oh, yeah.
For, like emotional damage. And like this guy got, and one guy made it to the DL. That's insane.
I mean, you got, the manager, Buck Rogers, he was done for the year. They had the bench coach take over his duties because, I mean, obviously, like, this guy suffered the worst of it.
Yep.
But other than him, I mean, it really is just Bobby Rose who landed on the DL, which I think because of this, I don't think Rose was ever really
the same again.
I think he always had problems after that.
Right.
But the incident was not without heroes, though. Shortly after the incident occurred, the Angels' second team bus arrived at the scene. The players on the second bus quickly began helping their fallen teammates to safety and checking on them before medical personnel arrived. Pitcher Chuck Finley, in particular, was cited by teammates for his efforts. 18 people were on the bus. A second bus carrying 19 players, coaches, and staff members followed closely. Hubie Brooks and Luis Polonia were not with the team, having received permission to spend Thursday's day off in New York. So those guys lucked out.
They were out getting drunk.
Oh, yeah. Like, we'll just get down to Baltimore ourselves.
They were probably in worse shape than these people in the bus crash the next day.
None of the players were wearing seatbelts. Only the driver is required to wear a seatbelt, according to New Jersey state law. But I don't believe that there are any seatbelts.
I was going to say the same thing.
Right?
I've ridden buses and trains. Neither of them have seatbelts that I know of, anyways. So
maybe you're just sitting in the smoke them if you got them seats.
Yeah, it's like, pretty much. Yeah.
That's the Drago cart. If he dies, he dies. You know.
Yep.
Jim Abbott and Bert Belevin were also in the second bus. They too were praised for helping pull the wounded out of the wreckage. They immediately sprang into action and helped rescue their fellow teammates, pulling them from bus via the broken windows. That must have been a sight. Imagine if you're driving down this road and you see this bus flipped over and there's Chuck Finley and Jim Abbott just pulling guys out of a broken window.
Baseball gloves and baseballs rolling down the highway.
There's balls everywhere. There's baseballs, just
human balls.
Yeah. It's crazy. And you just get out. Hey, can I get an autograph? Is that
sure?
Is that Rogers? Is it the manager here? Can I get his autograph? My elbow's broken in 15 different places. Get the hell out of here, kid.
Sign with the other hand.
All right, that's all.
Chuck Finley has a weird fact/story attached to him. In 1997, the team changed its name from California Angels to Anaheim Angels. During spring training, Finley was struck by a bat and sustained a broken orbital bone under his right eye. Spooky if you think about the name change causing the injury. It would be his first trip to the DL in his career. I don't understand the name change.
It's because for me, the way I thought about that one was, it's the fact that baseball players are so superstitious that all of a sudden, like, you know, I mean, Chuck Finley gets hurt.
True, that's a good point. Yeah,
and
they changed a big factor of the game.
And it wasn't like a sprained finger. I mean, this dude broke his orbital bone.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It was the first time on the DL in his entire career.
Yeah.
So to go, I mean, we all remember like Nomar Garciaparra when he had to do his glove thing 5,000 times, and Ortiz had to spit in his hands every at bat, and
not even every at bat, between each pitch.
Between each pitch, right?
Yeah.
Mark Bellhorn used to chug a beer before every at bat.
Yeah.
You know, Kurt Schilling used to put all the ketchup inside of his sock. You know, I mean, all this stuff. So, I mean, just that's kind of like one of those weird, like baseball weird little hiccups, you know, where it's like, hey, the team changing his name, and all of a sudden it's like, pow.
Yeah, one idiosyncrasy the wrong way. Didn't Manny Ramirez have like a bunch of weird things too he would do inside the Green Monster? Like you'd look out in the outfield and he wouldn't be there. He'd be like, there'd be a hole in the Green Monster. And
there was a couple of things that said he used to just constantly go in the bathroom during pitching changes.
Yep.
Like he would just go there and hang out and talk to the guys and like pee in the corner or something. At one time, I remember the pitching, they were changing pitchers, and Manny Ramirez went into the Green Monster, and after like the pitcher was all warmed up and they were ready to go, Manny still wasn't there. So everybody said that he was like taking a dump in a bucket or something, and he wasn't ready. You know, so, Manny being Manny.
Yep.
So all things considered, everyone went on to make a full recovery. Rogers was out until August due to his injuries. As a result, third base coach John Witham managed in Rogers' absence. Additionally, infielders Gary DeSarnisa and Junior Felix also suffered minor injuries in the crash. In fact, 13 players and personnel sustained injuries in this crash. So how did something like this happen? Well, I'm glad you asked, Nick. The bus left. The bus left Yankee Stadium, where the Angels had lost their third consecutive game. Shortly before midnight on Wednesday, the accident occurred on a dry road at about 1:50 a.m. when bus driver Carl Ventes, who was transporting 18 of the 37-member traveling party, apparently swerved to avoid a recap tire left in the road by a truck traveling just ahead of the bus. An investigation of the incident found neither debris nor any skid marks that would have resulted from applying the brake to avoid the debris. In all likelihood, he probably fell asleep at the wheel and the bus drifted across the road.
Scratching balls, it feels comfortable, you fall asleep.
They said that there were no skid marks, but I don't think they checked anybody's underpants. Because there's no
probably would have been quite a few. Yeah. Is this dip or skid mark? I can't tell.
I don't know what's going on here.
New Jersey State Trooper Nick Colucci said that late that Thursday night, Venetz was issued a careless driving summons that carried a whopping $66 fine. $66 fine in New Jersey. Wow.
Look out.
Really breaking the bank. That's not even going to fix your teeth.
You almost killed half a team. $66.
Yeah. Jesus. A preliminary report said that Venetz lost control of the bus, which traveled 175 feet along the roadway, straddled the guardrail, went 250 feet more before striking a tree and turning onto its side at a 60-degree angle. That thing spun. A whole bus. I mean, I wonder if they could tell how fast he was going. I still can't believe how few serious injuries there were. That's crazy.
Right. I know.
Venetz, 38, of Stanhope, New Jersey, was employed by Keva Connor, bus lines of Pine Hill, New Jersey. Maureen Skapansky, a spokeswoman for the New Jersey Division of Motor Vehicles in Trenton, said Venetz had 5 points on his license. 12 points would result in a suspension and has had 5 speeding violations. However, she said it wasn't clear whether they occurred while Venetz was driving a bus or his own vehicle. I feel like that should be something highlighted in whatever point you get on. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, yeah. I feel like it doesn't matter whether you did it in your vehicle or the company's vehicle.
This guy shouldn't be driving personally, never mind professionally.
Right. And the fact that, we'll get there, but Traveling Secretary Frank Sims said he heard Venice speaking with the driver of the other bus on the CB radio seconds before the accident. He also said Venice was not or had not been drinking and wasn't distracted by the movie being shown on the bus because the screen, of course, was behind him. He was doing about 60 miles an hour, maybe 62, Sims said. I heard him say something and swerve, like something had come off a truck. There wasn't a guardrail on the portion of road. He hit the grass, and the grass was wet, and the bus started to fishtail. He knew he couldn't get back on the highway, and he wanted to avoid the trees. He hit the guardrail and went down, and we tumbled like mad. I remember we finally rolled over onto the side. I put my hand up to my head, and it was covered with glass from the window and broken bottles. I looked over at Buck, and oh boy, was he crumpled. I mean, yeah. The whole bus was inside. John Witham said, I don't even remember leaving my seat. I don't remember flying through the air. What I remember was seeing all kinds of gray flakes all over me and all over everyone. They were leaves coming from the bus and the trees we hit. Those on the second bus feared the absolute worst when they pulled over on the side of the road. I went up to the bus and thought, there's no way we're not dealing with multiple serious injuries, said radio announcer Bob Jameson. Players met with him later that Thursday afternoon to take stock of their injuries and their luck. If we had kept rolling down that hill, we would have gone into the water, probably upside down, and who knows what would have happened then, said catcher Ron Tigley, who sustained sore ribs after hitting the seat in front of him. It was incredible that just 4 guys had to stay in the hospital. I mean, we're talking
I don't know.
about...
What does this say? Does this say something for the bus saving them? Does this say something for these guys being a little tougher? Or maybe this hospital sucked and they discharged people too early? Or...
Well, I mean, nothing... Even after the hospital discharged everybody, there were no long-standing injuries except for, like, you know, obviously there's a lot of guys who are sore, right? I think you have to credit the bus driver a little bit on this one, because he was technically trying. I mean, for what it is. Yeah.
It sounds like there were worse outcomes and he kind of guided them into the best one.
I mean, you gotta think though, if this dude really did fall asleep, right? He would have just went over the side of that cliff or mountain or whatever they're on at a huge rate of speed. Right. Mm-hmm. And there's no way he would have swerved and fixed himself. So, in a way, you have to kind of say, okay, maybe there really was debris. I mean, who knows? Who knows if, like, the debris could have gotten caught in the bus and rolled down the hill with them and all this stuff. But, I mean, you do have to give a little credit to this guy. He did try to avoid hitting all the trees. But, I mean, at that crazy rate of speed traveling down the wet, dewy grass, I mean, the only way you're going to come to a stop is if you hit a tree or something. You know, so I think it's just one of those situations where, like, as soon as it was happening, I mean, it's fight or flight took over. And I think if a lot of these guys were very alert and not just coming off a game and they weren't just relaxing and tired, I think a lot more guys would have gotten more serious injuries.
Yeah, I think a lot has to be said about luck too. I mean, it was definitely a big factor in this. They just got lucky.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now this could have been a lot worse. And although it's very rare that this happens with a team, it still does happen. In the event of an air disaster or some other catastrophic event involving a professional sports team, what would happen? How would a team rebuild? Could it rebuild? ESPN asked the question back in April of 2020. The MLB remains tight-lipped about their plan if something should ever happen, but other sports have issued statements on how they would rebuild if needed. For instance, the NBA. If a disaster occurs in which 5 or more players die or are dismembered, the league will hold a disaster draft to replace the individuals who were lost. Teams unaffected by the disaster each would be allowed to protect 5 players. So that's interesting. They immediately go into it like an expansion draft.
Pretty much, yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah.
For the NFL, in a near disaster in which fewer than 15 players are killed or lost for the season, teams would be required to play out the season but would receive priority on all waiver claims. In a disaster in which 15 or more players are killed or lost for the season, the commissioner would decide whether the team will continue its season. If it does, the near disaster plan would kick in. If not, a restocking draft would take place in the offseason, and the team would get the number one pick in that year's NFL draft. Hey, we know you lost 15 people got killed in this accident, but guys, here's the number one draft pick. As far as the NHL is concerned, if an accident occurs resulting in the death or disability of 5 or more active players, the club would be allowed to restock its roster by buying players from other teams using money from an indemnity insurance policy. Once the disabled club returns to a playing strength of 1 goalkeeper and 14 players, NHL rosters regularly have 20 active players, the emergency rehabilitation draft can be enacted to finish restocking the process. Each club will be able to protect 1 goalkeeper and 10 position players, and the disabled club will draft from the remaining pool of talent. Teams that lost a player in the first phase of the ERP are exempt from losing a player in the draft. That's interesting. That's way more convoluted than either of the other sports, but I get it because there are just more active roster players, I think, for hockey. Well, football's pretty up there too, but it's weird that they can go, they have an insurance policy to get money to buy players after that. That's interesting. I wonder how much that is.
And I wonder, like, would that mean, like, obviously buying players from, like, another country, I would assume, right?
No, I think it would be, instead of trading with another team, you would just buy the player. Like, if it happened to,
that's true.
Whatever, Colorado, they could buy from Las Vegas, and then they could go buy from Boston, and then they could go buy. Like I said, I would be interested to see how much money they get for this.
Right.
Because, luckily and unfortunately, NHL contracts are some of the smallest. So you could, let's say it's $100 million or whatever. You could do a lot of work with that.
And the fact that, like, it makes you think, like, you have an insurance policy on these players. So, I mean, you really are protecting your interest in the team.
Yeah, you're protecting the whole team.
You're protecting your investment. If something happens here. That's why, like, I believe it's the NBA doesn't allow you. It might be all sports now. I'm not sure, though. But the NBA, there's a stipulation in your contract that you're not allowed to ride motorcycles or any kind of motorized, like, two-wheeled.
Yeah, I think that is part of some. I don't know if it's like full league or if it's by club or whatever, but I have heard of that. Yeah,
it's pretty.
Other sports too. Like, you can't, like, if you're a professional football player, like, you cannot go and, like, go play, pick up baseball or basketball somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, if you get caught playing another sport somewhere, you blow out your ACL going for a dunk, and you're like the starting offensive tackle, you're not going to get paid. Right.
Which, it kind of sucks for a lot of these guys who are athletes, because it's like you really do have to do nothing in your off season.
Yeah, but I mean, no sympathy there. I mean, you're getting paid.
You're getting paid
mega bucks. Go and relax on a boat for 5 months, and you'll be okay.
Right, you'll be fine. So one of the worst incidents ever to happen was in 1970, when 37 members of the Marshall football team were killed in a crash. A month earlier, Wichita State football team lost 14 players in a crash. And in 1977, the University of Evansville lost 14 players on its basketball team. Luckily, no professional sports teams have ever suffered a catastrophic plane crash. There have been many of close calls, such as in 1960, when a plane carrying the Minneapolis Lakers had to make an emergency landing in an Iowa cornfield. That's where Greg is. He's looking,
he got hit by that plane. He made it back to 1960 and got hit by a plane.
But nothing catastrophic has ever happened. The lack of
an wood.
Yeah, I know, right? The lack of an incident involving a pro sports team doesn't mean professionals have flown worry-free. Just a few years ago, a tire on the San Jose Sharks charter flight leaving Dallas for St. Louis exploded on takeoff, severing the plane's hydraulic system. The pilot was forced to manually turn around, lower the landing gear, and brake without power assistance. So that was the closest thing to happen.
At least they had a better pilot than that dude was a bus driver.
That's true.
You know,
that's true. And there was seatbelts.
Also, in 1995, the president of Front Page Tours, a company that leases charters to 15 to 20 professional sports teams, flew on a flight from Washington to Chicago to ease the concerns of several Chicago Bulls following a pair of turbulent flights. In one case, the Bulls' cabin depressurized due to a rapid descent requiring the players to use oxygen masks. In another, sharp banking turn was required upon takeoff, rattling several players. And in 1998, the St. Louis Blues had a close call when their TWA charter plane needed several attempts to land at Detroit Metropolitan Airport because of strong crosswinds.
I'm not a good flyer to begin with, and if I was on any of these flights, there's definitely a 1,000% chance that I would need multiple airsick bags. I'm not a good flyer, but it's not that I'm afraid to fly. I just hate being stuck in a tube.
It's just uncomfortable. Yeah. I hate taking off. It's so uncomfortable to me because like usually, I mean, especially coming out of Boston, like you will take off, you know, if you're going west, you're going to take off north or east or something like that. So you take off and then you make a hard bank to one direction. It's super uncomfortable. You're looking at the ground from one side of the plane.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all. And then landing is kind of uncomfortable too, because you don't know where you are, how close to the ground you are. Sometimes I hate it. I just don't like flying, but as I guess if you do it more often, it does get easier.
Did I ever tell you about the time when I was on a flight? I forget where I was coming from, but I was coming home and I was flying by myself. I had the whole row to myself, which was nice. And I kind of had my seatbelt on throughout the flight. But then at one point, I kind of like, I had the whole row and I was coming from a long flight. So I could kind of like lay out. Right. And I put my feet up on the two other chairs and I'm just kind of relaxing. I still have my seatbelt on, but then I kind of just unhook it, but I didn't like take it all the way off.
Right.
Like the belt was still draped over me, but yet unbuckled. So, you know, obviously when the flight attendants come around and they tell you to put your tray tables up and buckle your seatbelt. I mean, they just looked at me. My tray table was up. I'm snoring. I'm dead to the world, right? And by the looks of it, I still have my seatbelt on, right? So nobody ever bothered me and I'm sleeping. We land in Boston and, you know, when you hit that ground and the captain's applying the brakes and you kind of move forward a little bit. Well, don't you know that I fell right on the floor? Right in my I was right on the ground and I get up real quick and I didn't like pop up because I didn't want obviously
I didn't want to cause attention.
I didn't want to cause attention. I just kind of like got up and I was like, oop, I don't have my seatbelt on. And I just sit down and I put my belt on. But you ever wake up like that? You're like, whoa.
Yeah, right.
You know,
that's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
So these things do serve a purpose, huh?
Yeah, right. Oh, a seatbelt. Oh, man. So pro sports teams relying on good luck is a terrifying situation. Luckily, all team planes are landing safely, but if they don't, then each of the four major sports teams are ready to go with plan B, even though the MLB will not tell you what that plan is. Which I wonder why Major League Baseball keeps their plan under wraps. Like, what do they have to gain for keeping that a secret?
That is interesting.
I mean, you have the other three major sports went ahead and said, this is what we're going to do. This is exactly what we're going to do. And honestly, like all three of them, NHL, NFL, and NBA, all kind of spit the same situation where it's like, you know, we're going to have a disaster draft. Or
here's the only thing I can think of. Because of the players union in baseball, I imagine if they released publicly what the criteria was, there would be grounds to argue one way or the other on what should happen. And they probably just don't want to get into, you know,
good point. I never
arbitrating different rules and stuff because this league or this club doesn't like the way that this is. This club thinks it should be this way.
Right.
So they're just like, you know what? Well, if it happens, we'll tell you. But until then,
MLB does have the strongest union.
Yeah,
it really does. It's amazing. I'm working on a show, a strike show, and the amount of times that MLB has had a strike.
And it's just, we've talked about this on Drunken Opinion before. I honestly think I don't think we'll see right there, but I do think we will see a close to $1 billion contract in our lives.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're almost there.
You know, I mean, we're seeing the $500 million.
Yeah.
close to it anyways. Like,
I mean, you got to do 13, 15 years for it, but
right, but still to just get that up front,
yeah.
You know what I mean? That guarantee. It's not a guarantee, I know, but like what was it? Trout or
Mike
who
Trout?
was the one that went right before Mookie?
Fernando Tatis.
Was it? It was like a $350 million contract.
Yeah,
that was like
unheard
of.
The biggest contract so far was Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, Fernando Tatis. I believe Manny Machado did a big contract too, and then Mookie Betts. So
I think Mookie Betts ended up not really getting. Well, all right. Mookie got 12-year 365. Trout got 10 360. Lindor got 10-year 341. Tatis got 14 340. And Stanton got 13 325. I think Stanton is probably the biggest bust on that list.
Absolutely.
They were just like, he can hit home runs, pay him, and then he kind of stopped hitting home runs.
To be honest, I don't think Stanton's been the same since he got rocked in the face when he played in Miami.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. He's the whole reason why all these guys have the extension side face on the helmet now.
I mean, also Miami was like a home run park too. Well, the Yankee Park is much easier to hit a home run out of. I think at this point it's like a little league field. But yeah, no, that's crazy. Those are crazy big numbers.
It's MLB contracts are amazing. They're absolutely amazing.
Miguel Cabrera, 8-year 248, signed in 2014.
Right.
So 2014, $248 million. He's there until 2023.
Right.
That's insane numbers. I mean, and these are going to end up being like those. Like they stopped playing. We still got to pay him for another 10 years because we still owe them $300 million.
Can you imagine that? All right. So he signed that contract in 2014, right?
Yep.
6 years later, people are making $125 million more than what which is in 6 years.
Yeah.
It
like
went
Joey
up
Votto too.
$120 million.
Joey Votto, 2012 signed a 10 for 225.
Right.
2012 for $225 million. So he's coming up. Not next year, but the year after, 2023.
Right. Well, so is Cabrera, 23. But those guys are. I don't know about Joey Votto, but Miguel Cabrera is. I mean, he's ready to go.
Yeah, Kershaw was a 14 too for 7 215.
Yeah.
But and then other than the current ones, Derek Jeter was the 01 for $189 million for 10 years, which was crazy money in 2001.
But it's these big contracts. I mean, they're great for the I don't want to say great, but they're like good for the player, but they're also terrible for the player. So these teams are dumping $325 million. Angels are dumping all this money on Mike Trout, right? They can't afford to put another team around him. They can't afford to put anybody around him. I mean, they're just lucky that they have Shohei Ohtani, who is lights out pitcher in an amazing at bat.
But when is his contract up?
It's got to be up soon. I mean, I can't imagine that he's going to be there too much. And what's he going to go to the table? Well, you're paying Mike Trout, $320 million to sit on the DL list. I want at least $500 million.
Right. Yeah.
And they're going to be like, sorry, we can't afford it. You know who's going to eat that? The Yankees are going to do it. The Yankees just print money in their back room anyways. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So in February, two sides also agreed to a 2-year contract buyout of Ohtani's 3 arbitration seasons in exchange for $8.5 million. Ohtani is receiving $3 million this year with a bump to 5.5 next year. And I think this is the end of his deal in 2021. I could be reading this wrong, but
you could be right though.
You got to imagine he's going to exponentially get paid more, right? I don't know. Some of this stuff confuses me because I don't know how it works.
But he has to get paid more. You know what? Not for nothing, but he's doing double duty.
Right, but that means he has to stay in the AL or the NL. Sorry.
No, he's in the AL now.
But how? Yeah. So he's batting.
So he pitches every 5 days with the Angels,
and then he bats in the rotation.
And he bats.
That's right. Okay, yeah.
He bats. I think he's DH or an outfield. On his days off. So he's playing every single day.
Yeah.
So
he's not getting that off time like other pitchers are.
No. And if he's, I mean,
that
I would
completely
imagine
escaped me that he's in this league actually, because it didn't make any sense to me. That I thought he was just hitting after he was pitching, but
I mean, you think a guy like him would be like, well, I mean, I'm already doing this. Why don't I go to the NL and San Diego will pay me, or the Dodgers will pay me, or some other up and coming team.
You think they'll ever change that? I know there's always talks about them going either NL or AL batting rules, but they never actually do it. I think recently they decided they're not gonna.
Yeah, they keep talking about like everyone's going to adopt the DH rule, but honestly, I kind of like to see the pitchers bat.
Yes and no. I mean he's obviously he's an exception, right?
Right.
I mean, they can't normally. That's
right.
They train their entire lives to throw a ball super fast.
Right.
They're not. You can't also train to hit a ball super far. Like there's just not enough time in a day to learn to do that. Yeah,
see a good batter. But Shohei is the next Babe Ruth, which is amazing to see in our time. So, all right. Well, I think that's going to do it for the show today. I want to really thank you for coming on to this episode today.
Sure, man.
I had a good time.
It was fun.
It was. I had a lot of fun. If you like this show, check out all our other shows at iepradio.com, and you can check out all the links to all our social media accounts. Twitter, Instagram. We have a YouTube page. YouTube's hard to do, man. We do a YouTube and a TikTok page, and if you don't have a good idea for a TikTok, it's just like.
Yeah, but you still see too, like, X amount of people viewed this, right? Yeah. And then you don't get any kind of subs or likes or anything. It's because TikTok's just full of fucking bots. I don't trust that application as far as I could code it. I don't like that application at all. I understand like it's useful, I guess, for people like us. But I don't know. I don't trust it. I don't like it.
I think everything's full of bots. So
yeah.
And check out s1e1pod.com. Check them out on Twitter and Instagram at s1e1pod. Gabagool.boston on Instagram for your sandwich reviews, Italian sandwiches, Italian subs. Pardon me. Screen Punch Gaming. You'll hear the commercial on this episode. Twitch.tv/Screen Punch Gaming. What else am I missing from you? You're so busy all the time.
You pretty much covered it.
Do you have an Only Hams or
Only Hams? Yeah, you can find me on Only Hams.
You can find me on Only Hams. I'll be slicing nice gabagool.
Right? Mad.
All right, so that'll do it for IAP. Thanks for listening. For Nick Passaro, I am Dave Houghton, and we will catch you next time. Goodbye.
See ya.
This has been a Mayday Media production.